What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Mauricio Sulaiman. Get this, the WBC president threatens to end an interview when questioned on Charlo's inactivity. The four sanctioning bodies in boxing, the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF, are subject to considerable criticism from fans, media, and fighters, often for good reason. Too many belts, not enforcing mandatories, and questionable ranking decisions are some of the most common grievances aired. Okay? The WBC president, Mauricio Sulaiman, found himself on the receiving end of a grilling recently to the point where he almost cut the interview short. Broadway Joel pressed Sulaiman on why WBC middleweight champion Jermall Charlo had not been stripped of his title, given he has not boxed in over 2 years. The interviewer asked why his Charlo had not been named champion in recess as per the WBC's rules, considering his last defense against Juan Macias Montiel in June of 2021. Sulaiman said the circumstances were different. He said the WBC has full authority to take every single case and address it as we deem necessary. So we are handling and administrating this case, and we will support Charlo. He has had an injury last year, and then he has a mental wellness situation, and we're supporting him. Wow, okay. He said, and Sulaiman was asked about documentation on the status of Charlo. He said, I don't need to provide any documentation, but we have it. Absolutely. We have it, and I met with him. Okay. Now, pressed on the idea that there was documentation for the mental issue, Sulaiman considered cutting the interview short, and this is how he said it. Man, what are you trying to get out of this? I don't like your style. If you continue this, I'm going to end the interview. You think you're an attorney? I don't know what you think you are. And those are the words of Mauricio Sulaiman, and let me counterpunch. First of all, this is the first time I ever heard of a mental issue with Jermall Charlo. He hasn't came forth, and as far as I've heard, I mean, you guys may tell me in the comment section, down in the trenches, but I haven't heard anything that Jermall was dealing with mental. What? Okay, let me see what he's saying. How did he put it? Mental wellness situation. I never heard of that shit at all. I've heard Tyson Fury, Ryan Garcia, a little bit of Teofimo Lopez because, you know, of his, drama and stuff like that. That's really all I've heard and the people I've heard it from. Jermall Charlo is not one of those people. To me, I think, this is my counterpunch, me looking from the outside, looking in. From the outside looking in, I think that Mauricio Sulaiman got angered when he was asked for proof because he couldn't supply any damn proof. He couldn't supply, neither did he want or like the idea of supplying proof. Why? Because I think it's a bunch of bullshit, 100%. Do you know why? Because I haven't heard of that. Neither's Jermall even spoke of it. I think that was a reason and an excuse big enough to keep Jermall Charlo right where they want him. The picks and chooses with the WBC, it's that way for a reason, and it's based on the amount of money that they pay or they're offered to pay. Maybe Al Heyman pays those sanctioning fees when those guys are not fighting. Maybe he does that to keep them in a certain ranking, to keep them at a certain amount of money or fans at a certain amount of interest, due that he is the 160-pound WBC champion. Okay, and I think they're all in cahoots at some point. And Mauricio knows, hey, it's smart business to keep Jermall Charlo right there, because if it was some guy that we never heard of and he actually fought for the title and got the title and no one knew who he was, well, that means his 3% that he had to give to the WBC wouldn't be worth a shit. Okay, it wouldn't be what Jamal's is based on what Jamal's fight purses are. See, the 3% goes on the amount of how much the fight. Those are this 3% of the fight purses, people. Okay, that's what it's based on. So if Jamal Charlo got $500,000, okay, 3% of that, versus some guy from Argentina that's maybe 3 or 4 that fights for the belt and wins it, and his fight purses are 150, you know what I mean, or 200,000. That's 3% of that compared to 500,000 and 3% of that. Come on. You know, that's going to go, and you're going to keep the money, and it's always, like Teddy Atlas said, follow the money. You know, and Mauricio does get mad because he is pressed, and he should be pressed because he's not doing his job. If, for once, if he would stop being or having picks and chooses, people wouldn't look at him that way. Okay? So for him getting angry during an interview, it's only because of your own wrongdoing and the screw-ups and the shady stuff that you've done over the years that people really want to have answers and want to be rectified. They really want to see what you're going to do about it and why you're not doing this versus why you're doing that. You got Conor Benn, you got Tyson Fury, you got Jamal Charlo, and you know, all of those guys are different outcomes. But Tyson Fury, he calls him a victim because he can't get fights. Well, if he can't get fights and that's not your problem, it shouldn't be your problem to feel sorry for him. Your responsibility as the WBC president of a world sanctioning body, the World Boxing Council, you should be responsible enough to know, hey, I understand you can't get fights, Tyson, or so you claim, because how the fuck do you know? If you think, oh, well, he cannot see or have fights, it is difficult. How you know how difficult it is? It's not your business to know how difficult it is, okay? And if you're not even involved in negotiations, you don't have a yay or a nay, so you don't have a say. Since you don't have a say, that means you need to get that fighter out of the way, because for whatever reason, that fighter, in this case, as example, Tyson Fury, he can't find a fight. Okay, that's not your problem. Neither is the organizations. Neither is the councils. So it's your job to keep the WBC current and flowing with the people that put their lives and blood, sweat, and tears and hard work and dedication on the line to make sure they get their opportunity, versus a guy that you claim as a victim because you want his 3%. That's the problem. See, if he wasn't so money hungry and he did the right thing, he would have more integrity. So he wouldn't be trying to threaten to get out of interviews. You only threaten to cut an interview off when you don't like what's asked upon you, or you have trouble answering questions that are asked. That guy asked you questions and you couldn't supply, and you get mad, or you get emotional, or you feel some type of way, or you take it some type of way. And it's not like someone, oh, well, do we have documentation? You're mad because now he's asking something that can back up this bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. That's the problem, Mauricio. So why don't you keep it a buck, okay? If you never strip anybody, okay, you're just that organization that's not known to strip people. But guess what? If you do strip someone, you got to strip everybody, okay? You can't not strip certain people and then strip certain people. That's not right. Keep it consistent, and then you wouldn't have to get pissed off at reporters that ask you simple questions. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Mauricio Sulaiman threatening to end an interview after Mr. Joel, shout out to him, asked him questions that he was uncomfortable with. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!